Hello again. This is Kate Brown Pernia, and this is Why Not a Hat? Today's our third video, and in today's video we're going to finish the hat that we started in video number 2, the one where we talked about how long does it take to make a hat. So I'm going to switch the camera here so you can see my table, and we'll get to work. Here we have the blocked straw. I'm going to take the last of these pins off. And now we're going to take the straw off of the bowl. Just pop it off. Remember, we put that saran wrap on there to make this project a little bit easier. There we go. But you see, the straw, even without the bowl, still holds the shape. Now, we're going to take some scissors and cut off the extra. We'll hang on to that for something else later. I'm just going to leave about 3/4 of an inch or so around the edge. Have a little wrinkle here, but we can steam that out if we need to. There. So now, you see, you've got a little hat. Now remember the wire that we had in there? This is number 19 millinery wire. We're going to put it in the outside, in the edge here, to help the hat maintain its shape. So I'm going to press that wire in there till it's nice and tight. Here we go. I've got a little bit too much, so I'm going to take some of this tie wire, use my bad paper scissors to cut it. This is number 30 wire you can get in any craft store. And I'm just going to wrap this edge to hold it together. Trim off the excess. Fold that in nicely so you don't poke yourself later on. And I'm going to take my wire cutters and cut off the rest of the millinery wire, which is right here. And then finish wrapping from the other side. I'm going to pull it a little bit, sort of make it more of an oval shape, and just pop it right in the inside of the hat and pin it in place. There, see? Nice. Now, sometimes I will put the wire inside a piece of tubing, like some horsehair tubing like this. I didn't have the right color for this one, and this is a little bit too big, and it's the wrong color. So I'm going to skip that step. But if you want a rounder edge, you can use something like a white horsehair tubing or piece of white cording that's hollow on the inside. Stick your wire in that. So now I'm going to pin it down. And I'm just going to use my fingers to press out those little extra pleats. It's not a problem. In fact, you could even steam it with your iron a little bit if you need to, but I don't think it's necessary here. Probably have to do some more trimming on this once we've gotten it stitched. easy. Just press that one a little bit, finger press it. There. Now, remember it was a little bulky in some places, but when the straw dried, it shrunk a little bit, so we didn't have to do any extra steaming. It just took its nice shape there. So now I'm going to get some thread, and we'll stitch this down. You could do this on a machine, but I'm kind of a stickler. I like to hide my stitches. So we use a big needle so we can find it. We're going to start in the center back and just take a little tiny stitch, almost invisible, and tie a square knot. You could knot the thread like you do when you hem your pants or something, but sometimes that knot will go sliding right through the straw weave. So I like to do a square knot. It's much more secure. So here we go. Get my ancient hands to work. Now I'm going to take some big stitches on this side and tiny stitches on the other side. Reason is we're going to cover this up later with a little bit of lace. Small stitch. It's tricky with this knotted sisal because the thread wants to get caught on the little knots, not to mention the pins, but we'll make it. So I'm taking about a 1/2 inch stitch on the underside and then just a tiny little stitch on the outside. And we'll work our way all the way around. What we're going to do when we finish stitching is trim off the extra straw closer to that edge, enclosing the wire, and then we're going to put a little lace on the inside edge to cover the raw edge of the straw and make the inside of the hat look pretty. By going through a loop, a couple of times. There we go. Now we're going to go back and trim next to the stitching we just did. Be careful not to poke through your hat. I'm going to trim this close to the stitching you just did. Another reason you're glad you have those big stitches, it makes it a little easier to see. Now I'm not going to waste too much time doing all this cutting. You get the picture. I'm going to go all the way around and finish this. Let's go on to the next step just so I can show you how we finish the inside of the hat. I've got this pretty little lace here that I selected out of my stash, and I'm going to just glue it. There's very few things in millinery that I use glue for, but this is one of the things I do use it for. I'm going to use a little of this Fabri-Tac glue, which you want to use in a well-ventilated place because it has acetone in it. But I'm just going to go a little bit at a time along the edge here. and glue that pretty lace right there. Remember, our clothespins come in handy here again too. Just, this glue dries very quickly, but you want to secure it while it's drying. Oopsie, I've got a little too much coming out there. Let me see if I can spread that out. You don't want to use too much, just a little, enough to hold that lace down. It does dry clear. And if you get some on your hands and can't wipe it off, you can use a little nail polish remover, that'll take it off. So we're going to go all the way around the inside of the hat like this to finish off the inside edge. But I'm not going to bore you with the whole project, but let's talk about how we're going to trim this hat. So let's pretend that it's all done on the inside. And this is the center back. I tend to trim hats on the right-hand side. That's tradition for ladies' hats, left-hand side for men's. But you don't have to stick with the tradition all the time. But we're going to stick with it today. So today, I'm going to show you what I decided to do for trim for this hat. I have some pretty, I'm thinking fall, since it's late summer already, midsummer. Oh, I've got something stuck on here. I have these pretty eucalyptus branches that I got in the floral department at the craft store. I use that same 30 gauge wire to just wire together 3 little stems and pulled off the bottom leaves. When you do a spray like this, typically you'll use odd numbers, 3, 5, 7, 9. For some reason that seems to be more aesthetically pleasing. I'm going to just pin this on to see how I like. This is the back, so I want it to go more forward. So let's just pin this in place with a straight pin. And then I'm going to cover the end with a little bit of this pretty ribbon that I had a little piece left over. This is a beautiful brocade ribbon that I got at M&J Trim in New York City, and I had this small piece left, so I just folded it 3 times. And I have 2 little squares of kind of a glitzy nylon tulle that I'm going to put behind. Actually, I think I'm going to put that behind the eucalyptus. So let's take the eucalyptus off again. Try this. I'll sew this together with the eucalyptus right there on it. So that add a little glitz to it. So let's take another piece of thread. Go through twice and then tie a knot. I don't often use a double thread, but I'm going to do it here just for a little extra strength. and just make a little knot by going through the loop. There we go. Now, that's going to go on here. And then I'm going to put this little pretty ribbon over top. So that's how we're going to finish off this little hat. I'm just going to pin it for now. We're just going to stitch this. I'll get a different color thread. And then you'll have your finished little hat. So what do you think? Why not a hat?